name's Randy Bennett. I'm the associate winemaker and general manager for Sojourn Cellars. We're a boutique winery based in Sonoma. We make about 10,000 cases of wine, primarily Pinot Noir from the Sonoma Coast and Russian River Valley. We focused on finding fantastic vineyards. We make a lot of single vineyard wines. We also make some amazing Chardonnay out of the Sonoma Coast and some Cabernets from some phenomenal vineyards over in Napa Valley. When I first started learning how to make wine, I worked for Thomas Rivers Brown. I was very fortunate to work for him, and we made the Nicholson Ranch wines and a lot of his other consulting projects, including Sojourn Cellars, his own project Rivers Marie, and Mike Smith was the assistant winemaker. And it was just a really good production team. Gave me a great background for how to make high quality wines in the cellar. And then I switched over to Sojourn Cellars 10 years ago as they were starting to grow and help them make the wines initially, and now I took over the role of general manager as well. Part of Sojourn's history is that we really started during the recession as we started to grow, and that became an opportunity for us. We were focused mainly on direct-to-consumer, so we weren't as impacted by the recession, but a lot of other wineries were, that created opportunities in vineyards, and that's one of the most important things in making high-quality wine, is to have great vineyard sources and be able to work with fantastic blocks within certain vineyards. So as the recession hit, some wineries had to give up some of the vineyards, and so we were able to get access to a lot of fantastic vineyards that we didn't have previously. That allowed us to make great wines that then more vineyard owners wanted us to work with their vineyards, and they still do. They write us every year and say, hey, we'd love to have you work with our grapes and make wines from here. And so that became a virtuous cycle for Sojourn, and really part of our success and the reason why we're able to bring some fantastic wines to the marketplace. The 2016 vintage was pretty idyllic from the winemaker's perspective because the climate cooperated, Mother Nature cooperated. We didn't have a lot of weather extremes. The vines themselves were very imbalanced relative to the 2015 vintage, which was very low yielding. 16 was a little more in balance, and the grapes and the vines themselves were a lot happier. So we were able to pick the grapes when we wanted to without anybody forcing our hand. And you'll see that in the wines. You'll see great balance, lots of layers of complexity in the wine, and nice acidity. Here we have 3 Pinot Noirs from the Sonoma Coast. The first one is our Sonoma Coast Appellation blend, which is a blend of 8 different vineyards that spread from the southernmost part of the Sonoma Coast to the northernmost part, 2 miles from the ocean at 1,200 feet elevation. So we have quite a range that create a lot of layers of complexity in that Sonoma Coast blend. Then 2 single vineyard Pinot Noirs. The first one, Rogers Creek Vineyard, which is in the southern Petaluma Gap. Very cool site, lots of wind. Mostly Pomard Clona Pinot Noir, kinds of some savory notes, really nice texture. We ferment about 15 to 20% of that whole cluster, which adds some nice verve and character to the wine. And then you have the Gaps Crown Vineyard Pinot Noir. So Gaps Crown, become an up-and-coming vineyard. It's getting a lot of popularity. Our previous vintage of the Gaps Crown was the Wine Spectator Top 100 list. It was the top-ranked California Pinot that year. Just a great site, really full-bodied, nice structure. Kind of bigger style of Pinot Noir that everyone seems to really enjoy. Yeah, one of our goals in our winemaking is to represent the vineyard and the vintage in bottle. So we're not trying to make the same wine exactly every year. We're trying to really represent what that vineyard produced that year and what Mother Nature gave us.